Hello everyone, good morning grade 7. And let us continue for our lesson for this morning or this week. Our module is tackled within 2 weeks. And now we are continuation from the module 2A and now a module 2B. But nasulat ko is 2C. So now let's proceed for the compound and the nature and properties. So our focus this morning is talk about the compounds, their nature and their properties. So now this module, how we learned last week, talk about the elements. So nalaman po natin yung elements. So now, dito tayo mag-focus sa compound. But before that, I would like to ask you first. Before we proceed with our lesson, I have some question for you. To think of, are you familiar with Calboro? So familiar kayo sa tinatawag na Calboro? Or the greenish yellow rock? Yung Calboro, ito yung chemical na ginagamit pampahinog or ginagamit, it is a solid substance that has a very foul odor. Yes, I know that you are familiar. It is the substance that people use to speed up the ripening bananas and mangoes. So, ang Calboro, ito isang chemical na ginagamit na pampahinog ng saging at saka yung mango. So, kung mapansin nyo sa palengke, magbili kayo doon, minsan, pag kinakain mo yung saging, nasa loob ay napakatigas. Minsan, nasa labas ay malambot na siya, at sa loob ay matigas. So, yun pala ay nahihinog lang dahil sa Calboro. Now, anong meron doon na chemicals sa Calboro? So, ang Calboro pala ay meron siyang sulfur. Yung, kung siguro yung mga magulang yung nakakita na ng sinatawag na sulfur. So, pwede kayong magtanong dun sa kanila. And now, so, hindi ka na ma-wonder. And you are not wondering why it is smells bad. So, hindi ka na mag-wonder kung bakit mabaho yung odor niya o kakaiba yung amoy ng sulfur. So, it because the Calboro, it made of from sulfur. So, sinabing sulfur. So, ang Calboro pala ay made from sulfur. When Calboro or sulfur is exposed in air, it reacts with oxygen gas form. So, when the sulfur, kung i-expose mo sa hangin, mag-react ang kanyang gas with oxygen. So, anong gas yon? Mag-react the sulfur when you put in the air, so have a reaction. Mag-react ang kanyang gas or tinatawag na oxygen. Now, with oxygen, gas formation yon. So, pag sinabing oxygen, ito'y nabibilang sa ating elements na sa gas formation. So, kasama dito, yung mga gas formation, hydrogen, helium, oxygen, and more gaseous states of element. Now, forming sulfur dioxide. So, the forming sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide. So, sinabi ko na, pag ang sulfur, pag ito ay na-expose sa hangin, mag-react siya into a gas or into oxygen. That's why the result is the sulfur dioxide. So, tanaw, bakit naging sulfur dioxide? Now, it because, which is a pungent and it because ang sulfur plus oxygen. the sulfur plus oxygen. Gets? Ganda ng sulat to, no? So, sulfur plus oxygen becomes sulfur dioxide. Or, tinatawag ito, the symbol is O2. Bakit is O2? Now, meron siya isang sulfur, one sulfur, and two oxygen. Two oxygen. So, one sulfur plus two oxygens, it becomes sulfur dioxide. Kaya tinatawag siya na dioxide dahil dalawa ang kanyang oxygen. See? Katulad ng tricycle, tatlo ang gulong. Bicycle, dalawa ang gulong. And then, tinatawag siya na di because is composed of two. Right? So, now, which is, yung kalboro, ito ay hindi siya maganda paglaruan. Alam niyo kung bakit? Because the kalboro or the sulfur dioxide, which is a pungent and poisonous. So, kaya mga sa ating mga mas nakakatanda sa atin, i-avoid na hindi maabot ng bata ang sulfur or tinatawag na kalboro because it's a poisonous. If you continue to inhale the gas produced by kalboro. So now let us move on. For example, so tapos na ang ating introduction. Introduction pa lang yun. So now we proceed to our lesson. So we are done our introduction. Yung introduction pa lang ito, hindi pa talaga ito yung ating main focus. Now, our previous lesson, you have learned that there are two classification of substance or two classification of pure substance, right? Do you remember the heterogeneous and homogeneous? Do you remember the elements and the compounds? In your previous class, yung grade 6 kayo, naalala niyo po yung classification? One classification is an element and the other is compounds. There are the two classification, yung sa poem, naalala niyo yun? There are two classifications, the elements and the compound. That are the two classification. So, one classification is elements. So, mamaya malaman natin kung ano ibig sabihin ng elements. And the other is compound. For you to be able to learn about the compound. So, ngayon talaga ay ating tatalakayin ang tungkol sa compound. So, last yung previous class ay inyong natutunan kung ano ang elements. So, sa ating klase noon, that elements, pag sinabing elements, what is elements? Pag sinabi mo yung compounds, ano ibig sabihin ng compounds, di ba? Sabi nun is two classification, the elements and the compounds. So, anong pinagkakaiba nito? Now, ito siya. Right na ito, ha? So, the two classification. First is elements. And the two is compounds. So, ma'am, ano ba pinagkakaiba nila? So, now, the elements, pag sinabing elements, is a pure substance. So, pag sinabi palang elements, is a pure substance. Pure substance consisting only of atoms. Meron lang siyang atoms. Consisting only of atoms. Now, and then, yun ang tinatawag na elements. Elements is a pure substance consisting only of atoms that all have the same numbers of protons and their nuclei. Unlike the chemical compounds, maliban So, maliban sa chemical compounds or tinatawag sa compounds. So, anong pinagkaiba? Dito natin nalaman. Unlike the compounds are chemical substance. So, compounds is a chemical substance. Is a chemical substance that composed of two. That or is a chemical substance that made up of two or more elements. So chemical substance made up of two or more elements. See? Ano pala yung compound? The compound is a chemical substance made up of two or more elements. Unlike sa elements is a pure substance consisting only atom. Diba? So, meron talaga pinagkakaiba. And compound that are chemically bound together with ratio. Now, in chemistry, that chemistry is a study of structures and the physical properties and the chemical properties. And the material substances, it is very important to understand that all gases, that all liquids, and that all solids are not the same. Diba sa ating phases of matter? The solid, liquid, and a gas. Hindi sila pare-pareho. Are not the same. All are different terms of their composition. This is the reason why the classification of matter is very important. Baka nagtaka ka, ma'am, bakit pag-aralan pa yung matter? Hindi naman yung kabilang sa buhay natin. So, tandaan po natin that the classification of the matter is very important as we are as a human being. Now, and the compound also is a chemical species that is formed when two or more atoms join together chemically. So now, alam na natin kung ano ang elements at saka yung atom. So now, let us proceed. So in our activity 1, para sa ating activity 1, ay pinamagatan ko yung feel me. Feel me. Sa ating activity yan, merong junk box. Merong box na nakalagay at merong junk box na nahati sa tatlo. First is the substance. The second ay tinatawag na chemical formula. And the third is ay tinatawag na elements. Or now, sa ating activity dyan, meron akong example na sa itaas. So, meron akong nilagay dyan na 4 ka substance. First, the salt. Second, the table sugar. The third, water. And the fourth is carbon dioxide. And now, I'll give you an example. First, the substance is salt. Pag sinabing salt, what do you mean? Salt is asin. Okay, very good. The salt, ito pala ay asin. So, ginagamit natin ang asin sa pampalasa ng pagkain. Ginagamit ang asin para sa pang-preserve ng pagkain. Ginagamit ang asin para sa mahalagang bagay o ginagamit ito sa ating flavoring. Now, first substance is salt. Ano ba itong salt? So, the chemical formula of salt ay tinatawag siya na NaCl. Malaking big letter N and small letter A. Big letter C and small letter L. So, ano itong tinatawag na Na and Cl? Now, ang Na and Cl, ito pala ay sa elements makikita. Na, ano ang Na? Ito ay tinatawag na sodium. So, the four elements niya is Na, and then Cl. So, bakit Na and Cl? So, sa ating periodic table, aray, magawa periodic table sa ating periodic table, ang mga, okay, mga bata, magdili kayo ng periodic table. Sa ating periodic table, ay lahat yung sa metal and metals, metalloids, gases, and then, iba't iba ang kulay. So, sa ating periodic table, makikita natin kung ano ang symbol ng Na, ano ibig sabihin ng Na. So, sa ating periodic table, example ito periodic table. Ganda yung periodic table mo, no? Now, so ang ating palang elements ay meron siyang Na at meron siyang Cl. The symbol and the naming. So, ito pala yung symbol, ito yung naming. Now, Na is for sodium. Cl is for chlorine. So, that's why the symbol of sodium is Na and the symbol of chlorine is Cl. That's why the salt is equivalent of sodium chloride. Bakit naging chloride? Because pinag-combine. That's why compound is chemically combined. Now, meron na tayong example dyan sa activity 1 natin The salt, ang substance natin, and then the chemical formula natin is Na and Cl. And then the elements present, ano ang nandoon sa chemical formula? Yung Na and Cl. Please lang, pakiliit lang sulat nyo para magkasya sa box. Now, ito ang tinatawag natin example na compound. So, napansin nyo ba? Pinag-combine sila. Diba? So, meron tayo ilang substance? Isa lang, salt lang. Pero, ilan ang kanyang elements? Dalawa. That's why that is called an example of compound. Two or more elements that combine together. So, that was example of our activity 1. The next is the table sugar. Alam niyo yung table sugar? And then the third is water. O, alam niyo naman siguro ang water. And then the carbon dioxide. May example na ako dyan sa ating activity 1. So that's why compounds cannot be separated into other substance by physical method, but by the chemical means. Now, then number 2, for the example is yung pangalawang table dyan is that next is water. So alam naman natin yung water. In other terms, the water is composed of or equivalent of H2O. Bakit naman siya H2O? Kanina the sulfur, di ba yung sulfur, naalala nyo? So, the water, ito ay tinatawag ng H2O. Bakit? Meron siyang dalawang hydrogen at meron siyang isang oxygen. Kasi kung dalawang oxygen, matawag na siya na dihydrogen. Diba? So, the water is composed of 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. See? Now, and then the number 3 is elements and compounds always combine fixed proportion. So, meron kung sa atin ito ilagay sa ratio and proportion. Sa ratio and proportion, ang tawag natin dito is sa water is H2O. Example ratio and proportion. Water, H2O. So, sa H2O, the ratio niya is, ilan ang hydrogen? Is 2. Ilan ang oxygen is 1. 2 is to 1. Hindi pwede isang tuldok lang. Kasi ang maglabas yun is 2.1. Dapat is dalawang tuldok. Pagkakita natin ng mathematician yan. So, 2 is to 1. Yan ang magsulat ng ratio. See? So, napakadali lang. Diba? Ano naman ang composition niya? Ito naman ay tawag nito is the composition. Composition. Ito naman ay ratio. Gets? So, ang composition niya is 2H because hydrogen is the symbol is H. O, ano pala yung H? O, dito naman tayo. The symbol is H and the naming is hydrogen. So, napakasimple lang. See? The symbol of O and the naming is oxygen. That's why, ito ang composition niya. So, sa water, may ilang hydrogen is 2. May ilang oxygen is 1. The composition is 2 hydrogen. Huwag na isulat ang word na hydrogen. Isulat na lang yung symbol. 2H or hydrogen and 1 oxygen or O. And then the ratio is 2 is to 1. Bakit 2 is to 1? Dahil nauna si H kaysa si O. Hindi pwede 1 is to 2. Kasi O2H na yan. Nauna si 2 dahil nauna si H. Kasi dalawa si 2 dahil dalawang H. Diba? Dalawang hydrogen. Okay? Now, that's why sa ratio and proportion, huwag yung magkakamali na tutuldok ang gamitin. See? Napakadali lang yung ating discussion. Generally, compounds have chemical names and common names. So, mayroon tayong chemical names and common names. Chemical formula. So, ang tawag nito is chemical names. Chemical names and common names. So the chemical names and the common names. Example, chemical formula. Ganda talaga sulat ko. Then the chemical names. And then, the common name. Common. Pag sinabing common, common name. Kita pa ba? Now, chemical names and the common names. Chemical names, NaCl. For example, the chemical names, NaCl. Chemical. So, it means ito ay na-combine. Diba? And then, the chemical names, sodium chloride. Sodium chloride. Ang common name niya is tinatawag na table salt. Asin. Sa iyong bahay. For example, sa iyo, ang pangalan mo is Renzel, and then the common name mo is Mayor. Ganun lang yun siya kasimple. Diba? And then, the H2O. H2O. The chemical name, hydrogen. Asya ko ba? Hydrogen. Sorry. H2O is dalawang hydrogen means dihydrogen. Dioxide. Now, dihydrogen and one oxygen, dihydrogen, oxygen. So, sa H2O, dahil dalawa ang H o dalawa ang hydrogen, ang kanyang chemical name is dihydrogen oxide. Dahil na-combine na siya into a compound, so ang oxygen become oxide. So, hindi na siya oxygen kasi nag-change na ang kanyang chemical formula o chemical name. So, dalawang hydrogen at isang oxygen kaya tinatawag siya na dihydrogen oxide. And then the common name is water. Kaya ang tinatawag na H2O ay water. O tinatawag na H2O. Kahirap naman magbili ka sa palengke. Pabili ng H2O, di ba? Parang ka-OA. Now, dihydrogen oxide and the common name niya is water. Then, the common name of NaCl or the sodium chloride is table salt or tinatawag na asin. So, napakasimple lang ating lesson for this 2 weeks. In this example, element sodium or Na is chemically combined with the elements chlorine. So, ang ating Na and Cl is chemically combined the sodium and chlorine. See? Napaka-simple lang. And then, compounds are used in our daily lives. So, meron tayong mga compounds na ginagamit natin sa ating pang-araw-araw na pamumuhay. For example is water or H2O. Paano natin gamitin ang tubig? Drinking water, washing clothes, watering plants, use ating pagpaligo, cleaning. Then, the table salt, used for seasoning. Sige nga, kumain ka naman ng asin kung magana ka ba kumain. And then, the table sugar, sweetener. And then, the agua oxinada or cleaning woods, pag ikaw ay nagkasugat. Aside from the substance mentioned, yun ang na-mention ko ay mga substance na present sa ating environment. Merong mga substance na wala dito sa atin. Nandun na yun sa ibang mga planeta. No? Now, sa ating activity 2, yun. Sa ating mga activity 2, patapos na tayo. Baka nagsawa na kayo sa mukha ko. Sa ating activity 2, sa pamagat, complete me. Oh. Pinamagatang complete me because I am incomplete. Ganda, no? Kanina, fill me. Ngayon, complete me. Now, ang direksyon dyan, napaka-importante. Fill in the table below. Write your answer correctly. See? Complete me. Ang sinabi ko na kanina, for the pure substance, chemical substance, compounds, percent, and ratio, and uses. Kanina may example ako, pero ngayon may dinagdag ako. Ngayon, the pure substance. Pure substance, short ka lang, hindi mo kasya sa board. And then the chemical formula. Chemical formula. And then, meron siyang components percent. Components percent. Percent yan. And then, the ratio. And then, the last is uses. Now, sabi dyan, complete me. So, ibig sabihin, hindi pa siya kompleto. Kayo ang mag-supply niyan sa kulang. So, example number 1. Gamitin natin yung example is water. Pure substance, pure sub means pure substance. Pure substance number 1, water. O, ano substance doon is tubig. Pure substance, water. O, chemical formula of water. H2O. O, anong chemical formula? H2O. Components present. Anong components present niya? Anong meron doon sa H2O? Okay? Meron siyang dalawang hydrogen. The symbol is H. At meron siyang isang oxygen. And the symbol is O. Hindi yung maliit na O. Big letter. Capital letter O. Now, ano ang kanyang ratio? Meron siya 2:1. So, ang kanyang ratio, okay? Each is to O or 2:1. Diba? Napakasimple lang. Water, uses niya. O ano ginagamit sa water? Paano natin yon? Drinking water. Uses is drinking water. Drinking water. Watering plants. O, maraming uses ang tubig. Ito yung mga lala. So, watering plants, for cleaning, or etc. or whatever. So, now, yan natapos ang ating activity 2. That complete me. Dapat i-completohin nyo siya. Mag-iyak yan pag di nyo completohin. And then, followed sa ating summary. So, sa ating summary dyan, kayo na yung magbasa. Na-discuss ko na yon, and then you must read again para mas more maintindihan natin. Thank you, grade 7. May feel this day or this week your lesson. I hope you've learned something more and more. And see you for the next module. Thank you and God bless.